What's up YouTube? This is Will. I'm making a follow-up to my Olla video from spring of 2014. I probably should have made one, a few years ago, but my life is chaos. Anyways, I was digging the Ollas up this spring, and I figured I should probably make that follow-up video. There they are over there. I'm going to dig one up here in a minute, but first let me show you a few pictures of the garden from last year and how it turned out. Basically, I dug little holes. Each hole had an Olla in it and composted soil, and it did really well. This picture's from earlier on in the spring. You can see the Ollas in each little section. Later on, everything got super tall. It got even more overgrown than this, but I forgot to take pictures of it. But you could really see which side of the garden had the Ollas and which side didn't. The side with the Ollas did a lot better. The cat enjoys it, and kind of wish I got some more pictures. Anyways, back to this year. I am going to dig up another one of the Olla jars. I covered the whole garden with leaves and some spent grain from beer brewing over the winter to make a compost layer. Here's I put a cap over top the Olla. You can see there's a lot of bugs running around, a lot of cockroaches and pill bugs. So I'm scraping away the soil that was buried under. There it is. Oh my god, there's snails. That is sort of one of the problems I noticed throughout the growing season, was that these things had become a little hideout for snails, as well as a lot of other bugs. But there you can see the roots growing along the side of the clay. These are some onions that already came up, so I'm just going to leave this Olla in the ground for this summer because I don't want to disturb the new growth.
Looks like it's some pretty solid compost.
There's Peter. Anyways, let's see what these things are like after all winter in the ground. I left these in the ground all winter, and I mean we had a really mild winter this year. I didn't experience any cracking or ice damage. You can see the roots still on the outside of this clay pot from last summer. A lot of roots. What's interesting is I noticed with the top of the clay sticking out, these things were collecting stuff all summer long. It looks like all winter too. A lot of bugs in there. It's a little gross, but whatever. Yeah, you can see that's a lot of bugs. This one had a spider web in it and significantly fewer bugs at the bottom. I'm wondering if the shape or the thickness of the clay could have anything to do with what ends up in it. See, this one still has water in it, some sort of dead bug stew. The smell coming off of this thing is pretty impressive. But let's dump it out. It's quite a smell. It looks just like decaying dead bugs gathering all winter. The one with the snails is actually surprisingly dry on the inside, except for the snails. Throw those guys out of here. Other side of the yard. So as you can see, each of these sort of has a different stuff ended up in it. I'm going to pull this raised bed out. It didn't really do well over the summer. Everything was way too dried out, even with the Ollas. I think there's also an elm nearby that may be stealing some of their water. I have arugula growing on it now that went to seed, that grew all winter. So I'm just going to pull these off. You can really look at the roots, the way they grab onto the clay. Wow, that's pretty cool. It's just a sheet of roots over the whole surface of the clay. Another spider web. Those little spiral snails, I noticed some of them crawling around last summer. And it seems like there's a decent amount of them down inside the jars as well. Look at those roots, just all over the whole thing. And this one seems pretty empty on the inside. It's kind of interesting how some of them gathered so much debris over the winter and some of them hardly anything. Anyways, here they are. I'm going to go ahead and make an animation about what I think happened over the summer because I like animating. Here we go. I dug a hole into my yard, filled it up with some compost and potting soil, put in the Olla, added some pre-sprouted plants, filled it in and just started watering it. You can see the roots start to grow. And I just kept watering it probably 2 or 3 times a week. I would fill them all the way up. I was also still watering on top of the soil at this time, and they just became completely overgrown. There were so many different plants growing in each segment. Right off the bat, I noticed lots of bugs falling in. They would sort of float to the surface whenever I filled the thing up. The snails, were growing in there. Flies were coming out, spiders. It looked like a whole ecosystem was happening inside this jar, and it made the water putrid smelling. And I'm not enough of a scientist here, but I'm wondering what sort of effects that could have on the plants growing through the clay, how much of that decaying matter would pass through the clay walls, if it's beneficial to the plants, if not. I don't really know these things. Maybe we can do some science in the future and figure that out. But what I do know is that the plants seemed pretty well off with the Ollas. But then fall happens, everything dried out. I didn't see any giant spiders in there over the winter. They might have left. I covered everything up with leaves and just crushed my plants down. And I just let it sit all winter until right now in April when I dug it up, and that's the start of the video so far. Now I'm gonna plant these new plants. I got a lot of peppers and tomatoes. I spaced out my Ollas. I'm gonna make a lot more to fill out the rest of the garden, but this is just the first round of planting I've got. I also found an albino cockroach, that's kind of exciting, and this giant earthworm. So yeah, there you have it. It's raining right now. It's a couple hours after I finished installing in the garden. So here it is, the first round of Garden 2016. Basils, pepper, some parsley, a lot of Olla jars, and I'm gonna try and do more follow-up videos this summer, but we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching.